We all want our cheap cars to be as reliable as possible, particularly when we buy cheap used cars, like the ones that I talk about on this channel. So with that in mind, what are the 10 most reliable used car manufacturers that you can get into? How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Fortunately, many providers have done a bunch of research into which manufacturers are the most useful when it comes to reliability on their used cars, taking into account stuff like the amount of time they spend off the road, the amount of money you spend per repair, how often they go wrong, and a whole bunch of other information. So let's get straight into it. Do hit the like button if you this kind of content and subscribe as well if you're new here, and let me know in the comments down below what your personal most reliable car is that you've ever owned. Mine is my Mazda MX-5. It's only got like the diff rail problems and the rear light sometimes dies as a result of a bad relay. Without further ado, let's get into the video. In the world of cars, there are very few manufacturers, at least in Europe, that have the capability of the VW group, and VW in particular have an okay reliability rating for their used cars at 77%. Funnily enough, this is actually significantly lower than their Porsche brand, which is clearly able to make even more quality offerings at an 85% reliability rating. But Porsche isn't specifically a cheap car manufacturer, so we'll ignore them for the sake of this video. Now, 77% is a bit of a mixed bag of reliability still, and I wouldn't say VW and its compatriots in Skoda and Seat are the main ones to go for from a reliability perspective, but what they do generally have is consistently the same cheap issues to resolve. I've mentioned in many videos that coil packs go, which are generally cheap to replace. You could even do it on your own drive, and there are other more general build issues like window motors failing, doors not unlocking correctly, and equivalent issues that can be annoying but not necessarily urgent or expensive to fix. The most reliable model in the whole group is apparently the VW Polo, with an average repair cost of around £185, and it's closely followed by the Seat Ibiza for obvious reasons, considering they're exactly the same car basically. Next up, with a reliability rating of 86%, it's Dacia or Dacia, which I personally think is a pretty strange one, as, spoiler alert, there are no French brands on this list, yet Dacia's parent company is Renault, which gained a far lower reliability score and doesn't have the best reputation for reliability regardless. The Romanian brand has consistently scored highly in reliability ratings from multiple sources since the early 2010s, so despite the Sandero being the brunt of one of Top Gear's longest running jokes, it has actually done very well. Part of the reason why the company is so dependable is that it's baked into the brand from day one. Yes, there have been many over the years that have been pretty rubbish, but the earliest Dacias like the 1300 were praised significantly for how reliable they were. The company also has a tendency to simplify cars as much as possible, with their innovative Easy R automatic transmission being a good example, as it has 1/4 fewer parts than the standard transmission and requires less maintenance. Considering the company is one of the cheapest manufacturers on the market, the fact that their reliability is generally so good makes them a really decent prospect for anyone looking to get a cheap and cheerful used car, even if they maybe don't set the world on fire in terms of looks and that kind of stuff. Onto a manufacturer now that most people pronounce incorrectly, including some of their own adverts. Hyundai have proven themselves to be a properly good manufacturer when it comes to keeping cars on the roads for a long time and being relatively cheap to maintain or repair. The South Korean manufacturer also has a 33.3% stake in fellow car company Kia, hence the two brands often put similar offerings out, all cars based on the same platform, which helps with sharing parts and making cars that are easier and cheaper to get parts for. And while I could talk more about their reliability, I wanted to discuss something far more interesting. Did you know Hyundai almost had a Formula 1 team? Back in 2006, when it was announced that there would be a Korean Grand Prix, Hyundai announced their intention to enter into Formula 1. The first Korean Grand Prix took place in 2010, but unfortunately Hyundai still have yet to take to the grid. But even if we can't rely on them to get into F1, we can at least rely on their cars to keep running, with the Hyundai Getz and i10 being their most reliable models according to the Reliability Index. I've had a few problems with my little Mark 1 Mazda MX-5, but absolutely nothing compared to what you should expect of a 1997 car that's been supercharged and harassed in the way mine has been. It is a testament to Mazda's incredible reliability reputation, which comes in at 89% according to What Cars survey. Mazda have had some absolute stinkers over the years, like the 6 MPS, which was known to go wrong, and the difficult to work on but well loved rotary engines that were in a few models of the past like the RX-8. But if we put those aside and focus on their offerings over the past 15 years, they've done an incredible job turning the business around, and I would honestly consider them to be the underdog cheap luxury car brand at this point, with how nice their offerings are with such great build quality. They've always had the potential to make really solid, reliable cars, as I mentioned with my MX-5, but they've not always had the money that some of their competitors in Japan had, namely Toyota and Honda. That's why Mazda's luxury car brand failed before it could even properly launch, and they've had to take a slower and more measured route to the place they are in today. The Mazda MX-5 and Mazda 2 are the most reliable Mazdas today, by the way, so it's nice to see a sports car that you can run without so much fear of expensive bills. Next up is a manufacturer that has really changed a lot since the mid to late 2000s, which many car people think has been a negative, but maybe it's a positive thing, as Mitsubishi are building highly reliable cars according to owners. The reliability is 89%, which is pretty strong. I did a video a long time ago on how Mitsubishi kinda went from hero to zero in the car world, dropping from making some of the world's most iconic cars that dominated the JDM and WRC scenes to now making just a few SUVs that are perfectly practical but not exciting in any major way. Well, just because they might not be exciting to a car person like myself doesn't mean they're not good cars, as Mitsubishi retain one of the highest reliability ratings of its used cars of any manufacturer, and that even applies to its plug-in hybrid electric SUVs. Cars like the Lancer and Colt are the key ones with great reliability from the past, and minor repair bills when they do go wrong, though of course you can ramp those figures up massively for an Evo or equivalent. Like Dacia, it is interesting that Mitsubishi is so high up on this list, as it sits with its alliance partners Renault and Nissan, both of which have significantly lower reliability ratings, but I suppose it helps they only have 7 offerings, 6 of which are SUVs. One, if you are, do hit the like button. If it gets 1,000 likes, I'll make a video on the 10 most reliable used cars that you can get. And if you haven't hit subscribe already, do that, because I put out 2 videos every single week. Taking 5th on the list is another brand that I've experienced recently, Kia, who not only offer very reliable cars, they offer a 7-year manufacturer warranty on every single one of their cars, which can also be passed on to future owners as a real kicker on top. The reliability rating came in at 92% for used cars, which is not bad at all. I mentioned it's part of the wider Hyundai motor company earlier on, and the brand prides itself on having the power to surprise and movement that inspires, but in reality, having driven a couple now, they are very basic but very functional little cars. I've always thought of them as a South Korean Skoda, if that makes any sense. In recent times, we've seen Kia start to enter into the sportier side of the market as well though, with cars like the Stinger GT as well as the Picanto GT line, both of which you wouldn't expect from the brand in the past, but remain cool offerings nonetheless, especially when you consider that warranty and reliability. They clearly back their cars to do a lot of miles, and according to the reliability index, the Kia Picanto is currently the 13th most reliable used car on the market in the UK. It feels like Asia is absolutely dominating this list, and I can confirm that all the remaining manufacturers on this list are from Japan, who just seem to consistently make cars that will keep you on the roads for a long time. Honda is one of those brands with a reliability rating of 92% for their used cars. Honda have managed to build a reputation for building quality cars which are designed and crafted well, hence they have a really high level of customer loyalty. So people who buy one Honda often end up with at least a second, as 60% of Honda owners buy another one as their next car. They haven't been without issues, with different models suffering from auto transmission problems, dead batteries, power steering winds, and a bunch of other issues, but in general, particularly over the past 15 years, their cars have been solid. The Honda Jazz, Insight and Accord all score very well on the reliability index in particular, and can also be bought for very reasonable prices, so you can easily spend less than a few £1000s and get something that will last you a good while. You knew it had to be on the list at some point, and to be honest, I kinda expect them to take the top spot, but Toyota have in many respects set the industry standard for making cars that are reliable with a 92% reliability rating. One of the main reasons why Toyota are so reliable is their mindset of total quality management, or TQM, which basically means that in every stage of production they monitor the output quality and ensure it fits a certain standard. They are known to be the best in the market at this, which they mix with as much employee feedback and involvement as they can, which helps with their continuous improvement initiatives. Toyota are so good at this in fact that they have been known to help other manufacturers with their production lines, including one of today's most successful brands, Porsche, who learned the process of lean manufacturing from Toyota. Toyota are also known to over-engineer their cars, so for example the 2JZ GTE engine is capable of up to 2000 horsepower, and I've seen owners manage 1000 horsepower of them for many miles without even strengthening the internals, because the engine was so heavily over-engineered to begin with. As a result, there are too many reliable Toyotas to talk about, but the IQ is currently considered to be the most reliable used car on the market according to Reliability Index. Toyota's luxury brand is Lexus, and like Porsche with VW, Lexus has a higher reliability rating than its parent company at 94%. Clearly, Lexus benefit from Toyota's incredible processes to make reliable cars, but also add on an extra level of quality to keep them running smoothly for many miles. What's amazing about Lexus is that they're able to produce such quality luxury cars that do actually last, and don't cost a fortune to repair if they do go wrong. For their new cars, Lexus often come top in reliability reports from multiple sources, and this quality clearly lasts, with many shared Toyota components helping to keep those costs down. Some of the innovation Lexus do helps a lot with this reliability too, like the vacuum cast aluminium engines, which are essentially flawless and completely consistent. It ensures that engines are lighter thanks to the aluminium, but perfect thanks to being vacuum cast, ensuring longevity. Then, like Toyota, they'll use an ECU to ensure that the engine produces less power than it actually can, to ensure the cars are over-engineered, under-stressed, and will last longer. Despite this, I've shown many times before, Lexus can actually also be a really cheap entry point into luxury car ownership. The thinking buyer watching this video who enjoys a bit of luxury in their cars would go for a Lexus. It's as simple as that. I'll be honest, I didn't expect Suzuki to be at the top of this list, but here we are, as they managed to get a 97% reliability rating for their used cars, with the Suzuki Vitara in particular getting an insane 100% reliability score. The Suzuki Alto is also one of the most reliable and cheap to repair cars on the market, which is a testament to their strategy around building cars with a no-nonsense approach. The Alto is a no-nonsense car, and though you can question the build quality, feeling cheap on the interior, it's actually incredibly good on reliability, so if you're willing to deal with the less pretty and premium materials, why not go for a Suzuki? They generally also have low cost ownership, and according to Reliability Index, when they do go wrong they cost very little to fix and spend a minimal amount of time actually off the road, as in usually a matter of hours, not days or weeks. If you want good build quality on top of good reliability, and you want something with a bit more desirability as well, you could always go for a Jimny, which is a well loved and great little 4x4. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would really appreciate a like if you haven't already. As I said, 1,000 likes to make the same video, but specifically about the cars rather than the manufacturers. Massive thanks to the patrons as always for their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.